Yes, good day to you all, my wonderful children. How are you all doing? How I've missed you so very much. Have you missed me too? I know, yes, it's expected, and I know you have also missed. You are missing school as well. You are missing your friends, yeah. So, but before we go on, it is very important that I ask, how are you doing? Hope you're keeping safe. Hope you are adhering strictly to the safety precautions that you get on a daily basis, either from the radio or TV, or the one you get here or after or before each class. All right, so which are washing your hands under running water and using alcohol-based sanitizer. And if you must go out with daddy and mommy to have fun or family time, please, I beg you, use protective nose mask because the pandemic called coronavirus is real and it has killed a lot of people and is still killing a lot of people around the world. We will not be partaker of it, I pray. Now, let's quickly go into today's business. All right, the subject we're going to be looking at today is basic science. The subject is basic science, and the topic is inclined plane, one of our simple machines. If you remember that we have talked about simple machines, and I told you that simple machines are mechanical devices or things that we use either at home or in offices or to make our work easier and faster. Examples are lever, inclined plane, pulley, wheel and axle, screw, and wedge. Those are the 6 basic simple machines that we have. So we have talked in our previous classes, we've talked about pulley, we've talked about lever. All right, can you remind me what I said pulley is? Yes, I said a pulley is a simple machine that is used to lift an object or lift heavy object. I gave the example of pulley as a typical example of a pulley is your well, your fetching well. All right, some of you will tell me now, Mr. Ogularu, we don't use well in our house. Oh. What we have is borehole. Duh. Some of you have wells in your villages. Yes. You will tell me you've not gone to your parents' village. You went during Christmas last year, December. All right, let's come back to class. Yes, that's a typical example of a pulley. All right. You know, well is a metal that is fixed above a well that is dug down, deep down the ground, and a rope is wound around it. I don't mean wound on your surface. So wound a rope around a thing is to move it tight around it. So, and the rope is tied to a bucket. So as you lower the metal, lowering the metal means you're releasing the rope and the bucket is going deep down into the well. Once it reaches where the water is, then it fetches the water and you begin to roll back up the rope. And as you do that, the bucket begins to come up until it gets to the surface and you pour out. So that's a typical example of a pulley. And I talked about lever. A typical example of your lever is your seesaw, the one you have in your playing ground, okay? Now, that one is a flat board that has a pivot or fulcrum. Now, pivot or fulcrum is like a support at the middle of your lever that helps the lever to be suspended either it helps the lever to be suspended sideways. It can go this side right up or this side right up. So what it does is when a load is placed at this end of the lever, this one goes up. When a load is placed at this end of the lever, this one goes up. So it has 3 parts to a lever. It has a fulcrum or pivot, and it has load and effort. And I also told you that we have 3 classes of lever. And we have first class lever, second class lever, and we have third class lever. In the first class lever, the fulcrum or pivot is in the middle. In the second class lever, the load is in the middle. And in the third class lever, the effort is in the middle. And I gave you quite a number of examples. All right, that is just to refresh your memory on all the things we have done on simple machines, because today's topic, inclined plane, is one of the simple machines. I told you we have 6 basic simple machines. So this is one of it. So welcome to class. Let me take you on a ride, on a coaster ride as you enjoy today's class. welcome aboard. So the topic is inclined plane and the subject is basic science and it is for primary 6. All right, before we go ahead or go into details about this topic, it is very important for us to know what you're expected to know or what you're expected to learn or have learned at the end of this class. All right, so, and that is called learning objectives or behavioral objectives. Those are the things you're expected to know or must have learned at the end of the lesson. Now, at the end of this lesson, each of the pupils or each of you should be able to define inclined plane. You should be able to define inclined plane as a flat surface that is suspended on another triangular or rectangular object such that one part is suspended and makes an angle with whatever truck or container you want to push the load into. Don't worry, not let me try to confuse you. As we go further, I will show you detailed example, picture example. It will help you to understand what I just said. So number one, you should be able to define inclined plane, and number two, you should be able to list the uses of inclined plane. Are you getting me? Is that sinking in? Am I too fast? Am I too slow? Okay, let me know. All right, so should I continue? Yes, all right, let's go on. So let's go into the class in details. All right, so what is an inclined plane? What is an inclined plane? Do not fidget, do not fear. It is not a big word. Inclined plane. When something is inclined, that means it's okay. Let me give you an example. You know your right angle triangle. Your right angle triangle is an example of an inclined plane. All right. I'll tell you why it is so. Now, let me explain this. An inclined plane is a simple motion consisting of a sloping surface and a flat supporting surface tilted at an angle with one end higher than the other, used as an aid for raising or lowering heavy objects. You're going to see what I'm trying to talk about. So it's a simple motion that is consisting of one slope on a flat surface, and one part is tilted. When you say one part is tilted, that means the part is like this. You can see me, it's not flat. When something is tilted, it's like this. You can see, like that, downward. So this part is the part resting on the truck you intend to push. Let's assume you want to push up some drums filled with liquid content into a truck. You must have seen it oftentimes, people who sell vegetable oil, and when these guys come to deliver their goods, when they're trying to bring down those drums, what they do is they get a flat plank and place one end at the entrance of the truck and the other end touching the flat surface, the floor. That enables them to be able to roll up or push up these drums into the truck and out of the truck. All right, the next slide is going to show us a vivid example or an idea of what an inclined plane is. So look at this. This is what I just said. You can see this guy. Sorry, I just called it a guy. All right. So you can see this is the plank I just told you. All right. Let's assume there's a truck here. And this is what I'm telling you. Is this not your right angle triangle? Yes, I said it. It's going to form a right angle triangle if you draw a line from the end where this one is touching the truck and the end where the other part of the plank is touching the ground. It forms angle. This is angle 90. All right. So this is an idea of an inclined plane. And let's go further and see. Now, an inclined plane can be constructed when needed with a solid support like a plank or metal placed in a slant position to form a sloping surface. I just showed you, yes. And I've just told you that what many of these guys who deal in vegetable oil business, what they use to bring down their goods or load up their goods into the truck is inclined plane, all right? Get a flat plank or a metal, place one end at the tip of the truck and the other end resting on the floor, okay? So that is how they do their business, and that's how they try to bring out their load from the truck. So what I just said is what you are seeing right here. That is the example. You can see these guys, they are tech guys. These are sound engineers. They are trying to load up this truck with their sound equipment, with their sound gadgets. And the easiest way to do that would be getting a plank or a metal. You can see this is a metal, all right? Make one end, this end is resting on the truck, and the other end here is resting on the floor. That enables them to be able to push up this stuff up into the truck. That's an inclined plane. It makes, like I told you, is a simple machine. And the essence of simple machine is to make your work easier. Do you know what stress they would have gone through if there is no inclined plane or nothing such as simple machine to help them get this job done? Let me tell you what they would have probably done. This guy would have just put this gadget on his head, and this other guy would have probably stayed at the entrance of the truck. And this is very heavy. It's not something one person can lift up to put in a truck. So the best way to get this job done is roll it up or push it up through an inclined plane. I have several other examples here. So let's look at the next one. Let's look at the next one. All right, look at this one too. You can see the load has a wheel or tire of its own. So which even make it very easy. So what he just needs to do is just push up. As it pushes that load up, it just roll up itself until it gets into the truck. So that's the essence of pulley, is to make your work or loading of heavy equipment easy to do. Okay, so that's so easy. This is a typical everyday today use of a pulley. So this is a pulley, right? This flat is a pulley. This flat metal, is a pulley. Let's see yet another example. I have on this next slide, I have a couple of examples all put together, about 4 of them. So inclined plane example. Do you know that your staircase, those of you that live in a story building, 2-story building, 3-story building, no matter the story building, your staircase is a perfect example of a pulley because it helps you to climb up the stairs until you get to the top floor easily. Let's assume you don't have staircase. How would you have gotten upstairs without the staircase? You can't fly. How would you have gotten there? So your staircase, like you can see here, is an example of a pulley. And this is what I talked about. This is a drop, probably containing a liquid substance. So in order for this guy to be able to push this up into wherever he wants to store them, is to get a flat plank, make one end rest on the floor and the other end rest on this edge, on this slope. Then he can easily roll up the drums. It's so easy. Now, these other guys, there are some guys who are called stunt guys. You have them in movies. Some of them just do stunt for free and they load it up on YouTube to get quite a number of views and to get paid. Now, some of those guys are bikers. We call them bikers. You see them doing a lot of stunts with their bike. They will they will ride their bike against a metal or probably climb on a metal and do all sorts of stunts. You must have seen it on TV or your YouTube discovery channels and those crazy and funny videos online. So this is another thing he does is this. This guy, I think he wants to make a high jump or a leap. In order for him to do that, he needs to climb up or ride up a pulley so that gives him a lift. So that when he gets to the height of the pulley or the end of the pulley, he takes that leap and that helps him to get to make a high jump. So that enhances or helps his stunt, makes him do his stunt better. So you can see these guys too. They are trying to roll up. I think it's a generator or a grass mower. Do you know what a grass mower is? Some of you are asking me, I don't know. Should I tell you? Should I tell you? You don't know. Yes, you don't know. A grass mower is a machine that is used to cut low the grasses. If you have a lawn, most developed countries, and even here in Nigeria, some of you in your houses, you have a garden, and in your garden there is a lawn. These short grasses, green grasses, you know, that you can sit on. Some of you call it carpet grass, but it's a lawn. So in order for you to cut low your lawn or mow your lawn, you use a grass mower. So this is the machine. So they are trying to push up this machine into the truck. And another thing you can use a pulley for, you can see this woman, she's on a wheelchair and she wants to get into this office. She's on a wheelchair, maybe this one is an electronic wheelchair, and she wants to get into this office, and you have about 2 steps to make before she can get here. Now, in order for her to get up there easily, is just get a flat metal or a plank, place it there, and she can easily wheel herself up into the office. Another one example here is this guy pushing up this load into the truck using a pulley. All right, so that's another. I have quite a number of picture example here just to make you understand what a pulley looks like and what a pulley is used for. You can see, I've just showed you one. You look at this woman too. She's trying to get into her own house on a wheelchair. So you do not, that's what, in developed countries, you don't use your predicament or your condition to disturb other people. You do not, because they don't like being, they call it, I remember, they don't like being a problem, a burden, yes. They don't like being a burden on someone else. So they rather want to do their, you'll find out that those amputees, what do we call amputees? Those who have their leg cut off, who have their hands cut off, maybe as a result of accident or stuff. Now, they are now confined to a wheelchair. They now have to use a wheelchair for the rest of their life. How do they move around? Is with the help, like this woman is trying to get into her house, and how she can best do that is use a pulley. Get a flat plank or a flat metal, and that helps her to wheel herself into your house. You know the funny thing, your mommy's wheel, your mommy's heel, her heels, is an example of a pulley. You can see it here. Women and ladies, they wear high heels. Example of that, their high heel, they call it wedge. It's not really wedge. Maybe that's the name they give to it, or that's the name it is called. It is a pulley. Yes, it's a simple machine. So their shoes, mommy's and your aunt's shoes are simple machines that help them to climb. I was thinking it will help them to fly, but it helps them to climb. No wonder they will climb high surfaces with ease, where a man will try to want to do the same thing on flat sandal, he won't be able to do that. So that's on a lighter mode. Look at this man too, trying to push up this load into the truck with the help of a pulley. How many of you have gone to ShopRite, or you've gone to a mall that has a lift? Don't lie. Do not lie. Do you know where ShopRite is? Okay, that was, I know every one of you must have been there. Now, if there is a part in ShopRite that has a lift, so if you want to go to the game center, somewhere at the top floor, you have to use a lift to get there. So that lift is automated, is not controlled by anything but electricity. No human being is controlling it. It's powered, it's automated, right? It's automatic. So it self-lifts itself. It self-lifts itself. It has been programmed that way. So you just need to stand at the first step and it goes up itself. It lifts you up itself. It's a perfect example of a pulley because it helps you to get to the top floor with ease. You don't have to move. It just goes up itself. And some of you must have seen, if you have ever driven in a car with your dad or your mom, You must have visited some areas that has a road that looks like a pulley. Maybe you're trying to, okay, Tombola Bridge, your Tombola Bridge is a perfect, and a part of Tombola Bridge is an example of a pulley. If you're trying to ascend that bridge, the starting point goes way up, all right? Is an inclined, oh, sorry, I said a pulley. Is an inclined plane. Is an inclined plane. It goes way up. So that is a perfect example of an inclined plane. That is a perfect example of an inclined plane. So you can see these two, your slide, the one that you have in the playground in school, and the one that helps to slide into a swimming pool is also an example of an inclined plane. Let me show you yet another one. So all the examples you see here, I have mentioned, you know, so these are typical example of an inclined plane. You can see this girl too, trying to jump or trying to slide into it. I just said that now. Just trying to slide into a swimming pool is a perfect example of an inclined plane. So finally, let's go to uses of inclined plane. Although I've mentioned some of the uses of inclined plane. Number one, for climbing steep surface, e.g. ladder, staircase. So you use inclined plane for climbing steep surfaces or just such as ladder or staircase. Number two, for entering and coming down from an aircraft. Yes, they use an inclined plane. Now that thing is brought close to the aircraft. So as people try to descend or come down from the aircraft, you use the inclined plane down to the floor. Now, number three, for rolling drums in and out of a lorry. I said that. And number four, for recreation purpose, sliding slope. I said it. So if you visit some recreational center like Indubisi Park and other, and the one we visited last year, December, they have this slope or slide that helps children to slide into the pool. It's fun, all right? So with that, we have come to the end of today's lesson. I hope you understand perfectly what an inclined plane is, and you've seen picture example of inclined plane. And you've also learned about the uses of inclined plane. So if you have any question, do not hesitate to let me have your question in my Gmail. And please, if you are yet to do your CBT online, make sure you go online to get it done, because by tomorrow, Friday the 19th, you are not going to find it there anymore. All right, till I come your way again, I remain Mr. Ogunlari. Please keep safe, always wash your hands under running water, apply alcohol-based sanitizer, and if you must go out with your daddy and mommy, make sure you're wearing a nose mask. And please, always study and speak right wherever, anywhere you go, everywhere you go. Bye for now. Love you all.